I open up the November 26th sewer commissioners meeting. Elaine, aye.
Brian, aye.
Okay, first thing on our agenda is update from the superintendent.
All right. So, let's see, a couple things going on here. Jeannie and I worked on getting the budget numbers together this week, and entering them. She entered them into Munis. We worked together just to kind of get them on an Excel spreadsheet and get everything up to speed. You should have in your packet. Probably the last page is just, it's an Excel spreadsheet, shows what we did for 2020, 2021, all the way up to what we're looking at for FY 26. We were asked to keep our numbers overall below a 4% increase for the year. That's including labor and town allocated costs. We don't have any updated at this point. Debt, principal, long-term payment, all that, all those numbers at the bottom there are just, I just carried them over from 2025. I imagine at some point coming up, we'll be getting those numbers from the accounting department. But if you look at our overall budget numbers, we kept everything under that 4% that we were requested to keep it under.
Does that work for you for the operating?
It does. There's a few items that we were anticipating being a little heavier this current year and next year on. Specifically, that would be the laboratory costs.
Yeah.
So I did increase some of the laboratory costs. Some of the areas we've benefited from so far is our chemical costs. Joining that chemical co-op, we were able to save quite a bit of money.
Oh, good. Good.
So I kind of moved things around accordingly.
And how long is that contract or the contract?
I believe it's for 3 years.
Oh, good.
So we should be good for. And it's been a substantial savings. We've had an increase in payroll this year. Some things that people were working, kind of the reclassification process took place for myself, Jeannie, Dave Wilson. The state made us go up from a grade 4 operator to a grade 5 operator. So there were some changes there as far as payroll side of things, but I've kind of offset things in other areas, and I think we're good with a 4% increase on the payroll and 4% through our operating budget. We're just under 4%,
Very
and
good.
I think it'll work.
Good job.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything super critical that's our heat. We haven't really used much of anything this year, but obviously,
Yeah.
we haven't seen the winter yet, so. Our electricity, if you look at FY 24 budget, we had 295,000 allocated and we used 243.
I'm looking at electricity.
Oh, yeah, it's probably a little easier to follow on this.
This one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so if you look at
Yeah,
electricity,
245, yeah.
we were looking at using 295,000 in electricity for 24, and we ended up using 243. So that was kind of very questionable when we went from 2 tanks to 3 tanks, how much usage we would really use. Right now, anticipating an increase in usage because we're using more blowers and things with a full operation of 4 tanks. So it's kind of a guesswork how much increase of electricity is going to be in the next year going forward, plus our usage, but we've bumped it up to 382 just to cover ourselves.
And there was concern about a possible rate increase as well for electricity, so that's all factored
Right.
as
right.
best you can.
So I
Okay.
think we're pretty good on that.
Okay,
So that's one of our big ticket items.
yep,
The other big ticket item we're looking at is our contract services. And that every year goes up due to the sludge contract increasing. So, back to 2024, we looked for 235,000 for a line item and we used 218. We have 245 in there for 2025 and then 258 for 2026. So I think we'll be in line on that end. Like I said, the only adjustment really that I was concerned about is our lab work. And I've increased that enough and it should cover us. We should be good.
Well, the fact that you're able to cover all the increases in salary that were done all at the same time, still keeping within that budget, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's very good.
Some of it I had anticipated last year, an increase, so some of it was somewhat buried in the 2025 budget. And the rest of it finished out in 26, so I think we should be in pretty good shape.
Well, the electric budget is another thing on this bigger scheme of what I'd like to get into with the town. It kind of goes into the meeting we were at last night. And I'm following up on this. If I can pull this off, this would be great.
And just look, comparing what you submitted in 25 to 26, it's $39,154 increase. So 1,331,861. 25 was 1,292,707, so less than $40,000,
So we're
about
budget, our
$40,000.
recommended budget last time, it's only 39, so it's like 0.5%.
Yeah. So that's very good.
Yeah, that's a good point to make, though. The reality of my
Yeah.
budget approved last year and this year, it's only whatever it is, it's not 4%, it's like
Yeah.
0.5%.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I
this is,
think overall, I think we did the math on it, unless I did the math wrong, which I hope I didn't. But I think we're at like 3.9, something like that %.
but comparing like.
Money
you said,
amount. If
the
you
last
do-
budget approved and this year just approved,
Yeah, the full dollar amount increase from last year to this.
Is what?
I think it's,
Is my math right? 39,000?
yeah, this.
yeah, it should be about right.
Well, either way, you're below 4%.
Yeah.
So, but that, yeah,
So that's 39,000 is
It's peanuts.
it's peanuts, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, again, from, I'd say marketing point of view, said that. If it's true, I'm just saying,
See
what your numbers are
see
saying,
what
like,
math
did I
is.
miss the
it's
zero?
39,000 on the budget.
No, you should be right, because
39.
Okay.
39,000. Over a.
so some of that too, I think, which will help us is with the upgrade and getting some of the older equipment replaced as part of the upgrade.
Right.
It should soften our repairs and equipment repairs going forward. So that's kind of helped me able to take some out of the equipment repair budget and put it towards lab costs. So
Yeah.
there has been quite a bit of a benefit from the upgrade in addition to just the 2 more tanks.
Good, that's good to hear.
So, yeah, that, and then, we were in town center. I think I circulated some photos for you guys to see that we repaired some valves at town center. And that took place over the last week or so. We had valves in there and pressure relief valves and gauges from 2006 that had never really been taken out and repaired. So we took those out and repaired them. Here's a picture of the 2 gauges
know.
that were in the
It's unbelievable that they were even still operational.
Well, we were hoping that they wouldn't let go on Thanksgiving, so our goal was to get them out of there before Thanksgiving. So that was mission accomplished by all the guys, and they've been great. The guys we have are awesome. One of the other pieces we're looking at, we have an old F-350 crane truck. So it's from 2012. We had it replaced this past year with a new crane truck. So right at this point, we have an additional truck that needs some maintenance done to it. It needs an exhaust system, needs some welding done to the frame, and there's some electrical issues with the rear lights on it. Since the highway department, the transfer station foreman moved over to the highway department to be the mechanic. He was looking at the truck and we've been talking about the potential. I told him I'd ask the commission how they feel on it. Is if we were to give that truck to the highway department, they would maintain it. it would be off our budget as far as the maintenance and insurance and whatnot. And they would use it as a support truck if he has to go out in the field, do repairs. It has a truck body on it, has a crane on it. And if I were to let them, or we decided to let them have that, they would be willing to maintain it. And if our crane truck ever went down, that crane truck would be made available to us to supplement ours until it came back from the shop. I feel like it would be inside. We know the highway department does a great job of maintaining the equipment, so it's one less piece we have to maintain. It gives them a truck to use in plowing and maintenance. And then, like I said, if we needed it, they said they'd be willing to give it back.
I'm good with it.
And this is just further with exactly with the cooperation between,
Okay.
which we've been doing anyways.
Right.
So
It just,
This is the crane, this is one of those, back mounted, cranes on the, if we're lifting pumps up out of a manhole, that could get.
Yep.
yeah.
So for us to hold on to it, it's outside, it's in the weather, it's getting continual rust. That's just gonna get worse and worse. If they bring it inside, they can undercoat it, paint it, keep it indoors and maintain it for probably well longer than we'd be able to in our department.
I mean, it makes sense. If it's a piece of equipment they can use, why not? Let's just take a vote to make sure that there's no,
I'll make a motion that we take your recommendation to transfer the lift truck that we have to the highway department for their use and our use when necessary.
second, all in favor? Aye. Elaine, aye.
Brian, aye.
So I'll bring it back to the highway department, and if they're all good with it and everything goes forward, then we'll go forward. So,
Good.
okay, perfect. Just some side notes, they did grass seed up by Links Way and mulched it, everything so far, seems to be, hasn't started, growing yet, but I'm sure we might get a couple little pieces
Well,
starting
it's
up.
cooperating, it's raining, but it's getting cold.
But come springtime, it should be all ready to roll. Yeah, I think that covers it. Budget's all set. Capital improvements, I didn't put in for anything additional for a capital improvement project for next year. Reason for that is we set aside 100,000 last year. And we've only used somewhere around 20,000 of that. So there's 80,000 left. That we're just gonna continue working through these projects until that 80,000 is worked out of the system. Or if it's not required, and we don't need it, it'll be still in article money
Good.
for future use. So I'm trying not to tap into the article money in case we need some of that to supplement our budget issues coming forward. So,
And right now, free cash was certified at 411,000. So between now and Springtown meeting, either, think if there's something you want to allocate that towards.
mhm.
But to your point, we may want to allocate the first payment of the leaching fields of 94,000 from that, just to make
Yeah.
sure.
To
But-
buy us a
so
little
we-
time.
Exactly. We have between now and probably mid-January, February before the articles are finalized, but we should allocate it for something.
I agree. So far, we haven't had any big surprises that we haven't been able to deal with in-house on these, air relief valves and pressure gauges, but there's some reserve there in case something pops up.
Now, how much article money do you currently have, do you know?
In total, are we somewhere in
think
the 800 range?
873,000.
Okay. And this 411, depending what it's used for or not, would bring us up to about 1,000,000 too. So, okay. Good position to be in.
And the septage numbers
Oh,
have been,
through the roof.
yeah.
In a good way.
Yes, yes.
Very good.
Yeah, so there's a project going on in a section of Plymouth that they have their own small treatment plant. And they're doing repairs to it. So they're bringing influent, which isn't as raw as a septic.
Oh,
And
wow.
we're blowing it right into headworks. We're taking about 15,000 extra gallons of influent a day
Wow.
at the same rate as septic.
That helps with the other stuff, it's really septic.
Yeah, it's
Right.
Have
a
diluted,
diluter.
Hmm.
Bugs like that. This is good.
bugs like it and the budget should like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll definitely help with, some of these other issues we're gonna be coming up against.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, one other, small piece. I talked to Brian about, going up to Country Club Way
Mm-hmm.
and trying to determine on the old map. There was a leg showing on the old map on Country Club Way.
This
that,
whole piece right here
Yes.
was on there and there's no flow.
Yeah, it showed that there was a sewer line in that area. So I went out to try and pop this manhole
Yes.
and it's buried. The only one I could pop is this one. But according to the plans I have, it just showed all the way up to this dead end up here.
And
It didn't show anything over here.
as far as I've ever understood it, it went up to the Davis, up, a little past the
Okay.
Davis property, and that was it.
So
So-
this, we corrected the map, this is all, I'll talk to that in a
That's good.
second.
So, yeah, Brian had them just pull that off from CDM's plans,
Good.
just to add, note that, but just as a reference, I didn't see any of the other manholes that run down Country Club Way, Brook Street, so they might all be buried.
Given the history that we found and what we've learned from Paul Basler and from the citizens of the street, that's much more likely than not.
So if there is, or when there is any paving that goes on up there, that's something we'll want to
Exactly right.
address.
Exactly right. We
Yeah.
gotta be, not, however that happens, that's gonna be, whoever the new highway department superintendent, whatever. It's on the top of the list for all of us that,
Yeah.
hey, find them, fix them. I mean, I'm sure the cones are no good. They probably are. The whole structure of the top, when it comes up like this, if it's brick or whatever, it has to be completely rebuilt.
Yeah.
It's not just a lift them with the 1 course of brick. It's-
Right,
it's-
right.
It's gonna be whatever, probably precast.
And speaking of paving, that project of, the manholes on Country Club that
All
we're,
taken care of.
that
Yeah.
we're responsible for. Well, should say responsible for, but
But we took the responsibility of
Right,
it
too.
to
It looks good, I mean.
at least get the paving and everything taken care
Right.
of this winter without it being something to fall on us.
right.
So, I did go up to,
Oh, I'll give you a little story for today.
Okay.
Every day is like a box of chocolates, right? So there is a pumping station that we want to do some repairs to, and part of those upgrades to the plant that we're looking for some additional pumps. So we want to do some work on Bradford Ave Pump Station. That's one over by, picks up the L Knife property and
Yep.
in that neighborhood over there. So about 2 months ago, we had one of the pumps fail over there. It was a capacitor. It was a night before I was going out to Chicago. Well, last night, the other pump failed. So we had spare capacitors, everything's up and running at this point, but we went to pull the pump this morning because last night it failed. And the corrosive action in that manhole, the handle for the pump came, it just disintegrated. So now we have no way to pull our pump up. So tomorrow morning, we're gonna pump down the station, go down there, strap the pump, bring the pump up, and build a new handle on it. That's just one of the things that,
The skill set of the staff is remarkable. I just can't say enough about you guys.
they're a great group and you just don't know what's gonna happen from one day to the next. And so far, we've been keeping things going, but there's, definitely a need for going around and doing the maintenance on this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's excellent.
And we're chipping away, but there's definitely, as soon as you take one thing off the plate, something else falls on it, so.
you mentioned corrosive natures. That sounds kind of unusual. Because you maintained the pumps in the past. Is that something that has to do with L Knife being right there?
So that's something I want to look at.
Or
The
is it-
station's probably 24 years old. We have a couple of stations that some of the handles start rotting over the years. It's probably a little bit of hydrogen sulfide in there. it might be something that's, you know, increased in that area due to the, you know, the alcohol and the product that they're discharging, the hops and whatnot, so. There's
So
something, I'm gonna-
they just, you know, be beer that broke open and.
yeah,
spilled.
washing down spillage, they're just a distributor, but, it might be something that added to it. It's also a station that doesn't get a whole lot of flow, so if there's not a whole lot moving through there, it could just be a higher concentration of corrosiveness.
Yeah, so that only takes a small area here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, so
that
it takes this facility and then it gravity feeds from about Spring Street down. And I think that's Homer Ave or something like that. And then Bradford, they all come down here and pump up and discharge right around where the car wash is on Spring Street.
So Carmelos and all that doesn't go in there, right? It
Nope.
goes that way.
Yep.
And then this is, yeah, that's Cancun, that goes that way, all right? So
Mhm.
it's not,
It's a very isolated,
Yeah.
low flow neighborhood.
well, sit in the gas, then that would do it, sitting with this.
Yeah, just sitting there festering.
Yes, old stainless pump, is one of those expensive ones.
Yeah,
Total
which-
stainless.
Which the new pumps hopefully will be in, you know, within the next few months, and we're gonna look at rehabbing that station, but for now, we just gotta get a handle on it, so to speak. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, Brian?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, your letter there. I wanted to share, this is I guess, the most final plan that I intended to use for the sewer advisory committee that we
Okay.
talked about. And we're out, the meeting with the selectmen is next Tuesday, right? And I know Gene set it up as a meeting. I was just gonna go just to take what we had agreed to and say, okay, you've had some time to talk to it. I've been talking with people. You know, we'd like to have an official designation of a sewer advisory committee that we will put together. I'll recommend, as just done, the Joyce from Port of Health, all the key people in the planning board. And the meeting last night with Kingston Business, somebody from Kingston Business representing them. Someone from the selectmen. I was gonna ask to see if Tyler would be interested, because he's got to see the plan. And just from a lot of other reasons, I think he's interested. Eric had mentioned 2 citizens had talked to him. I was gonna ask Pine, I never asked you yet, but I was someone to represent the environmental committee. The goal of which this advisory committee is to meet for a very short period of time, December and January. So we have an article or a decision or something that everybody shares in the knowledge about how we got to where we get. So when an article comes up to do whatever.
Yeah.
To help us reconcile our budget, whether it's some part of the tax levy, some kind of whatever to shift money from here to there, whatever that is, everyone's gonna know from the finance committee on down what we did, why we did it, and why it's a good idea. So this plan serves that purpose of, here's where we are. This is the system. Now, the other part of this plan that really important is I've identified, you see green areas. There's 1 and 2 green areas. The 2 green areas are at each end of the town. Okay, and the one down here at the Plymouth Town line ends up being 2 cut in half. Depending on what we learn about why Gray's Beach is contaminated this year. And that's why I want to have Joyce involved particularly, so we can track down where the sources of coliform are. It's somewhere in that green area. Some of the area there may not be as a priority. So it's a matter of discussing priorities with a group of people who have different points of view. But the areas that are 1, which are Bottle Street, Tower Kiln Road, it's the end of that system. Elm Street from Brook Street up Route 80 to the South Street, and from the pump station at Wapping Road up to where South Street intersects Elm Street. Okay. And I put the wells, 3 of them are important. The 3 wells that supply 50% of the town water are right there. We plan to surround that 10 years ago now. We plan on surrounding that whole area with sewers.
Okay,
We're 10 years late And the groundwater in those wells has gone from virtually nothing nitrate to in the 2 to 3 range. So we're behind the curve.
Yeah,
And then you have up here is where we had talked about and have an agreement in writing about the
town and
town and
country.
country, I'm sorry. And I have them as 2 because depending on what we decide over here, we may not have any more capacity. Now, what you don't see also, what I haven't pointed out, is independent small and the agreement of the town meeting. And there are, as you know, betterments paid for, but the amount of betterments paid for, and the amount of potential development there doesn't necessarily line up,
Correct.
okay? So that, from a tax levy point of view, I mean, to take this outside of this is why I want to have everybody represented. We want to have a tax levy, beef up the tax levy, put in, accessible land in the millions and millions of dollars to offset some of the tax problem we have.
Yeah.
So the discussion about what we do up here is critical to the overall discussion. And so what we're saying is, these folks up here may not be as priority as we'd like them to be. And I think down here, they have a sewage treatment plant, but this area down here doesn't. And then directly, there's all kinds of streams here going into the pond directly into the river. So it's a matter of, all right, here's the big picture. Where's our priorities for environment, public health? That's the starting point, and work our way down the list. And that's a comprehensive planning approach, So that's what this is going to do, and this will be my basis for the meetings we have.
Right.
So I want to show you, I have a couple extra copies, I'll leave with Gene in case anyone's interested. It's a working document, but I just want to make sure people everywhere understand this, and I got this to posted size, and this gets to the other point about having it, the intern, we were just talking about that, I know that you and Gene have been talking. What I wanted this map to do, besides making a reconciliation of who is on the list, going to this list, going to this document, and checking on every single lot,
Yeah,
somehow, because it'll show any voids. It's like the one that just came up, we didn't even know about it, down the street here. Set back off the woods, into the woods, that's a potentially good amount of capital for us, So it's actually going through and checking off and having, I have this so we can blow this up. Okay, so
we can
what
concentrate
you
on
don't
the
see here is I've got Ben and his team. Each pump station's watershed will be blown up in its own system, so we could go, the day to use otherwise, when we get into other things, blow this up. And you'll have each pump station have its watershed, all the lots shown. We can even add in, because this database, we can actually add in the owner.
Oh, wow.
Okay, you can add in all that kind of information when you blow it up. Now it's too small. But we can blow it up and have everybody's name. And we can update it as people change.
Yeah.
Periodically. But it also shows all the wetlands, while this is the whole idea we're doing this, is,
Yeah, this is a great map, and I like the way the wells are.
yeah, and the well, sorry,
Identified,
Winthrop Street
that's-
here, which is
yeah.
abandoned, okay? That's abandoned because of contamination here.
Yeah,
This, at the mall, I didn't have the right name of it, but, right here, that's that and that, 85% of our water, right there. And we got Tracker Pond with the magnesium treatment plant on it, that's
yeah,
filling in, is the backup, and now we're getting a new well, but those are way over here somewhere. Okay?
yeah.
These are important to be, factored in, and again, that was the other thing, that I had somebody in the water department, representing this idea. So, yeah, that's what that is. And
That's
so-
a big, I like the idea of including the water department, because a lot of what you're talking about in the overall picture is protecting those wells.
Yeah.
And having an involvement.
I see the Board of
is
Health,
huge.
Sewer Department, and the Water Department are a team. And associated with that team is the environmental community. Pull them in, kicking and screaming, but I'm gonna pull them in.
No,
It's on
this
the
is
record.
great, and I like the fact that you've got it at such a level now that it can be, sections can be blown up. That's good, because in order to get what we currently have, went onto the, town website, went onto the assessors database. Every single street that's sewered took every single parcel. the use code, everything, starting, we're gonna have a comprehensive list of what we have. And Jeannie's, fine tuning about 150 of them.
Yeah.
And, we'll see where we end up, but, this is good. We need
So we're
this.
gonna know, everyone's gonna know exactly what they want. If somebody walks into the office, you live a step or you live a step, I'll be, they say, here's your house.
Yeah,
This, and then we get to the planning about what zoning was before. We can go and say there was a single family house, like Copper Beach or somewhere near there. They have certain amount that they were talking about the 40B. Look, if there was zoned, single family residence, there'd be 3 or 4 bedroom house, that's it per lot. We have his lots, so there's 15 lots, whatever it adds up to be,
yeah,
that's it. Although that's gonna become less of a problem, I think, as we go forward. Last part of that, this is what we talked last night, just so it's clear. This is what we passed at town meeting. Here's the mall.
Yeah.
There's two areas. There's, A, sub-district A and sub-district B. A is along Marion Drive going up to the T station,
mm-hmm,
which are already developed with, storage and whatever. Car repairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what Valerie had mentioned is they probably won't develop or change their development. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but that was part of the decision making. So these are all that closest to the T,
yeah,
closest to the sewage treatment plant. Then you have the apartments that are there now, which are part of district B. And then the rest of sub-district B is the rest of the mall, which does not include Target in the parking lots associated with Target
okay,
and Macy's in the parking lot associated with Macy's. It's just the balance of that
okay,
for something like 400, 500, 600, whatever it is, potential apartments or income housing. It's not necessarily apartments. It could be a lot of different things, some kind of housing. Okay, and there's the well right there.
yeah,
So there's a lot of land around side of that though, too. And not that's, and we've got Mary Donald's and over here that's owned industrial with other things going on. Goes back to what we will get into discussions later on what might happen there. And how we fit into it, if there's any way we fit into it. But, again, looking at the 10,000 foot
Yeah.
level and then down to the bug dust level, we'll have, we'll be the smartest people on the earth. So, and it'll be absolutely necessary when we get down to it. I
Yeah.
guarantee you. All right,
no doubt. Very good.
Did you want to get into the letter next, or do we want to?
Yeah,
so this is your, I think you start off.
no, just that we put together a couple of letters, to send out as soon as possible. One of the letters is, I guess the quick one is the one for Country Club Way, but once a positive of the parcels. To have, offer them a connection if they want to connect, abandon their septic systems and connect the municipal sewer.
It should have been in your packet.
Yeah, you can-
Thank you. I just had it. It's here. Oh, there it is.
And then the second one, which is more of a, time sensitive, just again, so we can get it out quick, is the only reason I'm saying that.
So just on this first letter, so this is just for the people on that one
Right.
near our plant.
Yeah, just the,
Yeah.
So just targeting those, anyone Country Club Way, is the Lynx Way, are they in the sewer?
no,
They're
they inquired years ago, but never, moved forward with anything.
Because it's right in front of the house, I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
So, it's funny, while you're talking about this, something that came up while I was looking for those manholes to figure out where things actually flowed up there. And I would imagine a lot of it comes down to timing. And you look at all those units that when you go up Country Club Way on the left side now and the right side, I imagine those all came in when there was no room at the plant or a water moratorium. And now we have room at the plant, but now they're all on septic systems, In a perfect world, it would have been nice if all those units were connected.
we do have the, something connected up there. The,
That new market area.
yeah, the I call it a plaza for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
That, I believe, is connected.
Okay, that might be,
Yeah,
because that's
club- the
right
clubhouse?
on Country Club
Yeah.
The
Way.
clubhouse is that connected?
The clubhouse is, right?
the,
Where all
the,
the functions are?
yeah, that's,
Yeah,
connected.
yeah,
That's how we
Oh.
got the Davis property.
right. So I'm not clear then. Okay, so if you come up the entrance and you go left,
Before you even get to the clubhouse, as
Yeah.
you're coming up that road, there's those,
on the right,
they're
yeah,
almost like a bunch of duplex.
they're all, that's a 40B, I
townhouses.
think.
Yeah,
And then same thing on the left, before you get to the pool, there's
Yeah.
a development on the left there as well. And I don't think any of those properties are
Well, the
connected.
right was supposed to have been, based on the original plan that we had, we marked up, right? This plan that became, it comes up here. Isn't that it?
Let me just get my bearings.
See?
Yeah, so
Thank
you
you.
come up here, but I don't think any of those units,
But those sewer, that sewer's in, right? See, it's not in, it's,
this sewer comes all the way down here, wraps around, and comes down onto Brook Street. But I don't think this area or these
Really?
here are connected.
but what I believe is connected is there's a, hairdresser there.
Yeah,
That's connected, I think.
so that is probably like right
So-
around here.
to this letter there. Should we be taking any to those people too? Should we be sending this letter to those people as a?
I would say anywhere right from Brook Street all the way to the tail end.
Yeah, we can,
Okay.
sure, certainly.
The sewer's there, we're, you know,
And we're positive it's there,
we're
even though
positive
this,
it's there.
because it has to get down.
Oh, it
Brook
has to
Street.
get down to Brook
Yeah.
Street, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay, that's what was my question, it's
Okay.
getting, that's another reason why this plan
And
helps.
so then maybe in this
That-
letter
that's
for
clear,
clarity,
just- I mean, for Jean, she's listening, we'll point out a picture here.
I'm looking.
Okay, it's just that whole,
Yeah.
from Route 80 all the way up. The sewer goes out, all that. They could-
because I think if we
Right.
don't quantify what areas are involved, you'll start getting calls from everyone in Country Club
Agreed.
Way, right?
Yes,
So
agreed,
if we were to say from Brook Street,
to the
uh,
Davis property.
To the
yeah,
clubhouse,
to, I think it's
East.
288
yeah,
Country
and
Club
then
Way.
east up Country Club Way, ending at whatever this number is. Only,
Yeah,
Yes,
agreed, right, because that's the only place
because
there's
we
a
have
line.
existing sewer in front of you.
Right.
And then they have to hook up, are there stubs there? That's another question.
Not sure about
But we
stuff.
don't know about stubs, we don't know about any, we don't have any as-bills for that area, because we didn't do it. So that's all a bunch of questions we'll deal with later.
yeah, I don't have as-built, but I do have plans that were supposed to be followed, let's say.
Yeah, If we have a stub, at least we know that.
Yeah, and we've got time on that particular letter. It's,
Okay,
just a matter of, it's good though, we'll include the additionals. And then the other one is, just letting everybody know about our public hearings, what the rates are going up to, providing examples of what their increases will be. And then the second page is basically, how did we get to where we are today?
You said public hearings, you mean the one that we're setting up now?
No, the ones we had
Oh,
advertisements.
the one we already did.
Yeah, we
Oh, I
did.
thought you said,
Yeah.
no, I thought. you
Sorry.
were going to
Yeah, it was just to
I
let
missed
people,
that one.
just to let everybody know the results of those meetings if they didn't attend but wasn't aware of them.
And I just had a couple of comments.
Sure.
Okay, this has been back about a couple of times. but,
Yep.
I want to get my name out of it. And I just was talking to Dave earlier before he came in. I made a couple of suggestions, but one main thing.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we talked about, the subcommittee we're gonna have.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna be able to come to this, by the way. I mean, it's not me. I'm gonna try to run it as a facilitator.
Yep.
And get the hell out of the way. Just let people start, just to get the right facts, but I wanna make sure that this letter doesn't usurp what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And so there's one paragraph without any grants or towns.
Yeah.
Not giving any idea of what we're gonna do because we haven't decided it.
Okay, so take that out.
This is what we're gonna, that sentence will get put in a different format somewhere in January. But it's gonna be the selectmen, it's gonna be this advisory committee with the selectmen's backing everybody. It's not gonna be the sewer commission saying this is what we're gonna do. It's gonna be everybody gonna say,
Okay,
we went through this whole process and this is the best answer we have.
okay, so take that.
Yeah.
Take that out.
And then I had just a couple other, just taking my name out of this thing and just rewording it a little bit.
Okay,
So I started when we were waiting.
and I trust you, you can,
I gave Dave for the first two, just a couple of paragraphs. I think
Okay.
he has what I have.
Okay.
started.
that works.
The top one I was gonna do, the rate increase is necessary. I just gonna add something to this. This is my,
Sure,
because we've had a. Because we've had several inquiries to explain our rate increase. And then go into it. There's something,
okay,
similar to what you have there, but just because we've had so many inquiries, we have had many inquiries.
right,
Came out of the hearing itself, it came out after the hearing, we've had people calling. This is an attempt to clarify, and the other part of, right, I think this has a good, it's what we essentially said, based on those inquiries, to a specific resident
okay,
who's not on this. But this does serve the purpose of what we all wrote.
Yeah.
To everybody. So I think that's good, but so Dave has my comment, to take that first part
Okay.
out and then like that, and then take that paragraph out, and the only last one I got, I think here was, this paragraph before the one we just took out, we're looking at ways to reduce or potentially eliminate additional costs. Period. The sewer advisory committee mentioned earlier is intended to address this, so we reiterate the same point,
okay,
okay? And so that way there we kind of, this gets up to everybody next week, right?
yeah, we're hoping, the goal is to get it all up, ready to go for Monday. Because these changes will be made, have to be obviously printed and stuffed and all that, and get them all out in the same mailing on Monday. And hearing what other people had said at the meeting, I didn't get it, I got it late or not at all. The mailing list is based on the assessors database, which is basically, I believe, where the real estate tax bills come from. So if you get a tax bill, you should get our letter. And they're all gonna go Jeannie's gonna hand walk them down to the post office when they're ready and.
But these only be our customers. so-
Yes,
yeah.
correct, our sewer customers. And there's about, I forget, about 1,700, give or take. I'm looking at how many rows in the Excel spreadsheet. Oh, I think there's about 1,700, and right now, there's about 2,400, give or take, EIUs. Because the mall itself has I'm sorry, not the mall, Trammell Crow, which is now the apartments, has 150 EIUs just themselves.
Good.
So this way it'll be assigned by if we need to go the, connection fee route for leaching fields or whatever, should be based on EIUs.
We'll have all the right numbers.
Yeah. So,
So just the last thing that came up at last night when we talked, I haven't told you this, Dave, I told everybody. So kicking
Just-
around some ideas
yeah,
about,
just for the record, there was a Kingston Business Association meeting last night.
Okay.
I'm an officer of the association, and Brian was an invited guest by one of the other officers to talk about sewer. Just don't want anybody to think we're having a private meeting.
and I didn't know you remember until I looked at who's it, remember this thing, and I'm on the way there, I'm
Yeah.
like, Elaine? Come on,
Yeah, so, sorry, I just wanted to make
Right, I
it
think
clear
it's
for the
good.
record.
yep, I appreciate that, so, as you know, as we get into the other things, the mind's gonna explode here, so I'm looking at how do we have other options for revenue? And until the town meeting voted the way it did, I didn't want to say any of this too publicly, but we have up to 700,000 gallons of treated wastewater, drinking water quality. We don't disinfect it because it goes to the ground, but I've had this discussion with a few people now. We have water that it's a waste to put in the ground. If some other industry, particularly light industry, pharmaceutical business, I deal with these guys all the time, all over this part of the state. Demand for water that doesn't need to be potable because they have to treat it to a very high level anyways and then augment it. So here we have an area, industrial and all that. Now we have a place where they're gonna have a mall with space now for other things. Now that I understand it's not housing. Broached the subject with a few people, but what if we try to attract light industry, the kind of industry that needs water, doesn't want to pay an exorbitant amount for potable water from the town of Kingston to only throw it away, basically. And for a very short force main or some other mechanism near where our plant is, give them almost free water over a long period of time, takes the burden off the water supply for the town for drinking water, which should be used for drinking and bathing, and gives them an opportunity to grow and have a bottom line be lighter than it would have been if they have to pay, pick a number, $600,000 a year for water, and they get it for 50 cents, half of that, or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or even nothing. If we just got rid of it, it opens up possibilities for our leaching field to be rested longer. Maybe take more, beef it up as a permit number, because we're not gonna use it all the time. And a couple of ideas came up, I won't get into them now, but there's one that uses a lot of water that it's not far from there.
Yeah.
I tried to pursue it this morning, but I couldn't.
Well, definitely gotta start thinking outside the box, because, you gotta get creative with the stuff. It's
Right.
not going away,
Right.
And I think a lot of the planning so far has been forward looking for the town, There's more room available. There's further closures at the beach. There's potential for other people to tie into the plan now, so we're moving in the right direction. It's just a lot of pieces and parts to kind of corral at this point.
And to your point, Brian, it needs to be a collaborative effort on the town level, not the sewer commission is, working in a vacuum.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we really have in the past, but this just opens it up that much more and, everybody's a stakeholder now.
Yeah, yeah.
As they should be.
The more people know, the more they can make intelligent decisions
Right.
and understand why you make a decision if you made one. But that's,
Sounds good.
all right,
Motion to adjourn,
I'll make that motion.
second, all in favor, Elaine, aye.
Brian, I. We're still today.